Hello, everybody, and welcome to High Vibe Times with Teresa and Ashley, raw and unfiltered. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. How are you, Teresa?
I'm good. We had got a good rain last night, and although it's
Hmm.
kind of muggy, it's nice to have the rain. So we get
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, we do too. We do too. Okay, so today we were talking about intuition, just a simple little basic intuition. We're not going to get into it too in depth, but we wanted to touch base on intuition, maybe what it means to us, how we get our messages through our intuition, maybe some differences between intuition and other things, and maybe give you a little some exercises if you are interested in starting to trust your intuition more and sort of test it out, give you some exercises to do that. So I think, Teresa, you have
Yeah,
the official definition.
I do. I have the official definition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for a conscious reasoning, which is really, and another one that they also give is a thing that one knows or considers likely from instinctive feeling rather than a conscious reasoning,
Mm.
and I think that's a really good definition, actually, because it is a feeling. It's a feeling. It's a knowing. And so without physically having that physical affirmation of being able to sometimes see it or feel it or touch it or those type of senses. So
Yeah, it's like
yeah,
when you walk into
yeah,
a room or you meet somebody for the first time. Mine is when I meet somebody. I've been told for years and years and years by a lot of non-woo-woo kind of people are like, man, you can read people. And I really didn't understand what that meant until I really got into learning about intuition and energy and all that stuff. But it's like when you meet somebody for the first time and the hair on the back of your neck stands up and I'm not, something's not driving here. You get this feeling at the grocery store about somebody that you walk past, and they may have just looked at you as you walk past, but you get this eerie
mhm.
kind of feeling. And so that is your intuition. It's the energies and it's the inner knowing that something's just not connecting with me. So I need to do something different, right? Or reading the room when you go into maybe you walk into a discussion happening either at work or your family or whatever, with between two people, you walk in and you're like, ooh, okay, and I'm just gonna
I know, right? And I think it's really, really important to mention that, even though sometimes it feels like we don't, all of us have this ability to do this.
Mhm.
It's just sometimes we go through things in life that maybe shut it down. And so we may not, but it can be as small as, that little voice. Some people kind of think of it as the devil and the angel, on each side. And it's that little voice inside of you telling, kind of helping to guide or direct you. That's your intuition. I also like to think of it as like a heightened motherly instinct, or, just that gut feeling that you
Mhm.
get, which is exactly what you're talking about, when you walk into a room or being able to read a room, and that uneasiness that you'll get from that's an intuition, that's a form of intuition.
Yeah, and I think it's good to think about it. We always say, I got a gut feeling, right? Well,
Hmm.
if we call it our inner knowing and our gut, the inner, um, that is your intuition. And
Right.
um it's it's almost sometimes explainable, like when you're in you're like, oh, I could just see their facial expression. So I knew that I needed to leave the room. Maybe, maybe, but you also get this. feeling that something's going on, right? Something else is happening.
Mhm.
So, have you ever um thought about a friend that you hadn't talked to in a long time and the next person that calls is that friend?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
text, right?
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
it's that's the energy, that's the intuition, that's that connection that you have with them and just your inner knowing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And what's really cool about your intuition is that you can start to tune into it and start to play with it. And when
Mhm.
you start to play with it, it's just like any other muscle in your body. When you start to work it, it starts to grow and expand. And
Mhm.
so it's really cool to go in there and play with it, in different ways. When I first started doing it, the first thing that I did was when I would get a text message or a phone call, I would try to think about who it was. And then when I got that mastered, because I got it to where would know, then I would start to say, okay, what do they want? What are they calling me about? And it was surprising how quickly and how strong that intuition, that inner knowing, I love that you called it that inner knowing just grows and expands and gets stronger.
Right. Right. It's about practice. It's about trust, and it's
Mm,
about accepting it. Sometimes when you ask a question, you know, I use this a lot just to sort of keep I use my intuition all the time, but just as a little game to me, there's several ways to get to my house. And one of them is to cross the train track. And so then I say, I'm sitting at a red light. I'm like, okay, do I go way A, which is not the train track, or way B, which might be quicker as long as there's not a train, right? Which one do I need to go to? And then I get the answer and then I sort of test it out, right?
mm,
Um, and if it tells me you got to take the longer way, even though I may be rushed for time, I'm like, I don't want to accept it because it maybe take longer, but I need to accept
mhm.
it. So I got to ask it and trust it and accept it.
I love that. And I love that you put the trust in there too, because that's a hard one, to start
Mhm.
to learn to trust that, and as you was talking, what came to me was that, oh my goodness, I can remember so many times that I didn't trust it.
Mhm.
And man, it was like a spanking from the universe. I'm telling you, it's like it's like, okay, I tried to tell you, you didn't listen, so look what happened. I
Mhm.
mean, down to losing one of my favorite rings because
Mhm.
the universe told me, put it on your hand, and I didn't. I kept it in my wallet, and then I ended up dropping my wallet out of my purse, and someone took it. And the universe told me, put it
Yeah.
on, put your ring back on. And I didn't listen, so like big spanking sometimes from not paying attention to it. So yeah, both ways. It plays both ways. It's really cool when it does work out, and
Right.
the spanking that you get kind of teaches it next time to pay attention.
That's so true. That's so true. And one thing that was asked in a class that we just recently did was what's the difference between your intuition and getting a message from someone who has crossed over in the spirit world? And you and you had a great definition. I can't remember what it was now, but basically, you have the inner knowing, and that's coming from within, and a message is to me coming, and I've honed it enough and understand it enough to I swear I know what part of my body different messages come in. And so but it's sometimes, it's not mine, it is somebody else's. They're telling me things, they're using words that I wouldn't typically use, or examples that I wouldn't typically use, or it I really, many times I don't even understand it myself. So if I was getting a message from someone who had crossed over and they said hippopotamus, that would mean nothing to me. But for me to relay that message to somebody, maybe they have that reference. So there's a little bit of difference there between the intuition and message. Is there a better explanation? You said it so well the other night, and I can't remember what you said.
I think what it was that is that in my biggest way of knowing is that it's something that's literally dropped into my head that wasn't even thinking about at all, and it's just out of the blue. It just comes in out of the blue, and so I know that that's a message that's coming from the other side, either spirit or one of my team, or archangels, even Jesus and God, all of them. You can get messages, all of them, but it's something that's coming in from the outside coming in, whereas the intuition, like you said, is from the inside coming out. And I don't remember what I said last night, which is a good example of the fact that a lot of times when we channel stuff like that, or we get messages like that, at least I'm this way, I don't remember them because they're not my words. They're not, they came to me and I spoke them because whoever I was talking to at the time, or the group of people I was talking, that someone needed to hear it. And so it wasn't my words or mine to even absorb and keep, and so, yeah, I don't know what I said last night. I wish I would have now. But that's the difference from it, the inner knowing that literally comes from the inside, which is what you said, and is a perfect way. And mine, it is just a thought that is dropped into my head from out of nowhere, and that's how I know it's coming from. And I pay it, and then I tune into that. I can tune into my own intuition, or I can tune into that, depending on where it's coming from. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's definitely, and it was such a good question last night, because there's definitely a difference.
Mhm. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. So if you're wanting to sort of hone or practice or hone or test out your intuition, we've mentioned a couple so far. One is the phone, whether it's a phone call or a text, when your phone dings or buzzes or whatever it does, and go, I wonder if or I think it is, and see if it's true. Same thing with a phone call. Which way you go, maybe, one of your ways home has more traffic lights or more traffic or whatever the case may be. You had a good one last night about standing in line at the store. Like
Mm,
if you're at a store and it's busy, or a bank or whatever, which line's going to go faster, that kind of thing. That one's always fun.
mhm.
What was there any more that we?
Uh, Gosh, I can't think of any more right now.
Yeah.
Um,
But you can always do those kinds of things. Um, you know, um, Maybe your husband goes to the store and you're trying to guess how much he's going to spend, that kind of thing. I mean, just stuff like
mhm,
that. Just test it out. It's safe, right? It is not going to be, I mean, it may take you longer if you pick the wrong line at the bank or whatever, but it's not detrimental to your health, so to speak. And then once you trust and start testing that out, then you can start asking it more things. I ask myself health questions, is this toothache something to worry about, or is this something because I grind my teeth at night, they're just sore? What is it? Um and you can do more in-depth things after you sort of practice and test it out.
yeah. Not only does it help to build that muscle, but it helps to build that trust.
Mhm.
Because when you're right, you're like, oh wow,
Mhm.
you know, and so it helps to build that trust in that knowing, which is very significant. And like you said, it's not hurting anyone, and if you're wrong, it's not a big deal, and it's not, and so it's just something to really play. That's why it's fun to play with.
Oh,
It's
absolutely.
fun to play with and build it, and because you can do it, just in
Mhm.
little areas every place. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay, everybody, I hope you have a great rest of your day. And don't forget to like and subscribe, make comments. If there is something that you want for us to talk about, feel free to put them in the comments, or send us a message on one of our Facebook. Our Facebook groups are also in the description, and you can follow us through that. But I hope this was helpful, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
bye
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.